Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report Training Camp Recap Edition. Noah Dalzell here, and that's it for camp. Celtics head to Abu Dhabi. Preseason begins next weekend with Friday's first of two games against the Nuggets. And we'll probably get to see most of the Celtics involved. I'm sure a minimal amount of the starters. Of course, no Kristaps Porzingis out there, so a chance for younger players to get involved. Some of the guys we've heard about, guys coming back for a second year. And I think a big talk so far in camp, the centers, how they're acclimating, how they're getting involved, and how they're going to help the team sustain without Kristaps Porzingis. We talked a little bit about Kata last time. Some Xavier Tillman talk today. Joe, glad to have him as part of the mix. Versatility, thinks he's comfortable with concepts, and has picked things up, asked a lot of questions, and has said he even feels like he's been here for a long time at this point. So I think that's pretty positive, along with the surgery news, if that's able to heal up some of the issues he had physically last year, because he just didn't look right.
Yeah, no, I think all the talk around Xavier Tillman has looked really good. He seems really comfortable. Obviously, we've only spoken to him once, but that's just been the general impression. And then, I think the people have been impressed by just how much he's acclimated. Like, I feel like he hasn't actually been here that long. And I was talking with Jaden Springer yesterday, and I was asking, do you feel like you're a little bit more of a veteran now? And he was like, no, I'm still one of the young, the newest guys here. Tillman seems like a little bit more acclimated in a sense, but he's going to be really important to what they do early on. And I think the more I hear people talking here, the more I think that he's going to have a larger role to play in the early days.
Yeah, Derek White's saying that the younger guys have been allowed to go one-on-one, play offense only in some scrimmages. And so they're emphasizing these guys, trying to get them opportunities. Joe said today, too, we'll see plenty of them in the preseason, trying to learn their concepts. He talked a little bit about Jordan Walsh, needing to be able to guard all the different positions and know their concepts, be able to create their advantages on offense. So they're stressing that these guys have to be able to do everything that the regular contributors do to be able to get involved here. And obviously, I think we'll see all of them in the preseason. It's tough to get everybody opportunities in these games, but given that you have two this weekend, given that there's three after that, I think, or two at least, you're looking at different games where different guys can play, and I'm sure the starters are going to be pretty laid back through this stretch, especially in Abu Dhabi. You talked to Springer. Walsh, I'm looking forward to seeing where he's at after that shaky summer league that he had. We haven't talked to him yet in camp. But in terms of that backcourt, we've hit on Shireman a little bit. Watson's another guy I look at. We haven't talked to him yet. Maybe could get involved here if he shoots well enough, if he flashes enough on defense, if there's some injuries or something like that. So there's some first impressions we're going to get on Friday of guys like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as much as, I'm sure the fans in Abu Dhabi want to see the stars, we're more interested in seeing some of the guys that we're probably not going to see as much in the early days of the regular season. Those younger players, guys that struggled or didn't struggle in summer league. But I think just in general, there's an energy of so much continuity from last year that this is an unusual situation going into preseason. There's not new acquisitions that we're trying to see how they do. I don't know. Do you think we'll see Lonnie Walker play? Because he's obviously one. I'm thinking the training camp guys, this is kind of their time to shine. There's not even a guy like Jaden Springer or Jordan Walsh, they're on the roster for this year, right? I don't know if how much we'll see the Exhibit 10 guys. But that could be a good, interesting thing to see is if Lonnie Walker comes in and plays really well, is that one of the things that they can then use to determine whether or not he stays on this team?
It'll be pretty telling. In the past, those guys, and they've had less status than a Walker,
right? But
they usually play very end of the game or even later in the preseason after not playing the early portion of the preseason. So that's going to be pretty telling, I think. Does he have a large role in that first game or the second game? In my mind, I don't know 100%, but I feel like we'll see the starters a decent amount in the first game, and then the second game could be all reserves. I can't imagine that they're going to play both games, given the travel and load that they're trying to manage going into the year and all that kind of stuff, plus the looks they need to get at the younger guys. Who do you want to see most right now among the younger players, among the guys off the bench or even lower down the roster trying to make the roster?
Yeah, I think, honestly, everybody, but I think the rotation players that I'm the most excited about their ceiling are Kata and Jaden. And I think we'll probably see Kata in the regular season early on. I don't think we'll see Jaden as much. So just seeing how those two guys fare, I feel like we just haven't had that many extended samples of them playing. Jordan, I still think he's just a little bit away. I don't know that he's going to do anything in preseason that's going to change that perception, and we're going to see him in Maine quite a bit. The rookies, too, I think they're going to start up in Maine. So I think it's those guys that, are not going to be in Maine, but might not be in the rotation, that this is kind of the only opportunity we might have to watch them, these 5 preseason games. And I think you can, where a lot of this is speculation, how they look, how people are talking about them. We'll get to see them play against NBA players very soon, so that'll be fun to watch.
Again, for me, it's Shireman. I want to see him involved. I want to see how
you're high on Shireman.
Starters. I think he's a guy that can fit in right away. Just turned 24, so he's only 2 years younger than Tatum. He's got all these skills.
That's kind of crazy.
So he's ready. And if they need a guy on the wing early, if there's an injury, if someone's resting, I think he fits right in there, especially in smaller lineups. And we're going to talk a little bit coming up about Joe Mazzulla's approach to camp, some wacky stuff going on at practice today again, in terms of mixing in other sports and doing some odd stuff to get the Celtics going. So check out that video and show our sponsor some love. Game Time. Use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase over there. Terms apply. And Prize Picks. Go to Prize Picks. Use the code CLNS for a bonus on your daily fantasy sports team. For Dalzell, I'm Bobby Manning. This has been a training camp practice edition of the Garden Report. Hey, Bobby Manning here. If you made it this far, you probably enjoyed this video, so subscribe, turn on notifications, and check out our social media platforms at Celtics CLNS.